Today I'm going to be making a seed bin for my friend. Now, for some context, I do cooking and growing classes, so a lot of the time they're together, but sometimes they're separate. Sometimes I coach people one on one at their house. I am going to be using this to make her a seed bin. She's been having me over to coach her on growing from seed. I'm going to make her a seed bin today, and I'm going to talk to you about resilience. Resilience in the garden, why you need it, why it is so important. Growing is hard, and I don't want you to quit. So, we're going to talk about that. And I'm just going to be rummaging through my seeds to find things that I don't need anymore to give to her so that she has something from each category of my stuff. My first few years of growing were really rough for a number of reasons. I, at one point, lived in an apartment complex and they had strict rules about what you could and couldn't have outside. They even sent me a notice about my dying pepper plant that I had outside of my apartment window and tried to threaten to fine me over having something outside of my doors. There can be a number of really difficult things that come up your first year of growing. Your first year of growing, you are really just testing the waters. And I've said this before in previous videos, but I will say it again. The first time you grow something, you are not growing with the expectation of, oh, I'm going to be eating this. Let's see what this is. There's a lot of things that will come up your first year of growing and you don't actually know about the insects in your area yet, which is why it's so important to have lower expectations for yourself. Like when you're gathering up your seeds and you're getting ready to plant, I would really just do it with the mindset of like, I'm testing this out to see if it works. I'm testing to see what comes to eat this thing. I'm going to give her some of my red Russian kale. I do not need this. One year, this is my red Russian kale. This is why I don't need this pack. Okay, this is why it's going over to her house. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Some fava beans. Okay, when you're growing a new garden, there are a lot of things that can go wrong. Some of the things that go wrong, you can find a solution for. Some of the things that go wrong are going to be a fact of life, and you just need to mentally prepare yourself with your why. Like, why are you growing food? Like, really evaluate and examine like your reasoning personally for growing. um I had a moment like this my first I want to say it was either my first or my second year, probably my first year of having the garden. I had a really, really bad week in the garden because I had just set up a new bed and I had grown my tomato plants. They're about yay high. I did not have enough time to start over. Okay, this was like getting in by the skin of my teeth, last chance to grow tomatoes type of a thing. And my son, who was very young at the time, was joining me in the garden and he saw me putting down the tomatoes. And I did not know it, but I came out the next day and found them all ripped up. They were all laying on the ground. And I could not believe, like, I didn't even see him do it. I don't know how, but kids are fast. Especially my kids. My kids are very fast. We'll go into the herbs. And so anyways, I didn't see him do it, but he ripped up all my plants and I was so mad. I was so mad and I was so hurt. But then I go to grab him because I'm like, hey, it's time for bed. We got to go to sleep soon. These are really good. This is dill. I'll give her some dill as well. So anyways, I go to grab him for bed and he is dragging a little plastic blue lawn chair over to the garden. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing? He looks up and goes, I just want to watch. And he's sitting there and I'm like, okay, what do you see? And he's telling me like, oh, I see the butterflies are going down to the flowers. I see a lizard. And it was like this beautiful golden hour. And it was just this moment where I realized that for me, my point of gardening was not necessarily to get to eat something. It was watching this connection between my son and nature form, that there was not going to be another way to get this. And that, like, even if I ended up having to buy transplants sometimes because he ruined stuff on accident and it was not his fault, he's a baby. That my why was that I wanted my kids to have more of a holistic understanding of food, nature, and feel that like observation there's just a beautiful feeling. And that's why some of my page like actually just includes like, videos of me holding the lizard or videos of me looking at seeds come apart, is just because I have that within myself, that I am not just an eater at the garden, I am also an observer at the garden, and that there is so much to learn from the garden. So it's not necessarily just about food, it's about the foundation is food, and then everything that I can gain an understanding from gardening after that. And so, anyways, you need to think about for yourself, what is my why? Like, what is your why? If you're watching this right now, drop it in the comments. Why? What is your why for growing food? And everybody's gonna have a different reason. The other reason that I was gardening is because I genuinely hated the food prices at the moment. Like, I really, my other why, and that day with the tomato mishap, that was a bummer. But truly, like, I believe that food should not be that expensive. I just believe that. And so, because I believe that, I am putting my money and I'm investing towards extra garden beds, towards more places that I can grow, towards seeds. So you're going to learn what what your why is, like what you are doing this for, and really evaluate yourself why gardening is worth it, even if you never got to eat anything. Even if you were eating a few things and it wasn't replacing your whole grocery budget like you anticipated at first, think about the long term benefits. Think about the skills that you're going to gain from this, and think about you in 5 or 6 years potentially even harvesting half of what your family eats for that summer. My grocery bill goes down in the summer inevitably because I have too much. I have too much produce. I have too much melons. I have too much cantaloupes. I have too much squash. I have too much corn. I'm hauling my little rear end down to the food pantry to drop off what I don't need, or I'm answering Facebook requests on my local Facebook pages just saying, hey, I have no food. Who can help me? And you better believe I'm giving them some produce, some good produce. If they tell me that they like that produce, I definitely give them options of what I have. So, some other reasons you could want a legacy about gardening. You could want people to, be able to experience something at your house that they don't normally see, pollinator space. You could want to help conserve nature, or you could, want better food quality. Maybe you can't afford organic and you want to grow your own because you're tired of the grocery store prices. And all of those are valid reasons to want to grow a garden, that just get in your head like, why are you doing this? Because things will happen, outside of your control, and I don't think you should give up. I'm telling you, when you go out there and you finding like the second cutworm amongst my bell pepper plants in like a day and a half and realizing they're all decimated, I'm still not giving up. You know why I'm not giving up? Because I'm not made of glass. Like, life sucks sometimes, and you get to make a decision about whether or not you face the challenges in your life and you achieve your goals of being a gardener, or your goals, whatever area they are in. We make choices every day about what we're going to put time, energy, and effort towards. And I'm telling you right now that your garden is worth the time, energy, effort, anything, any money that you could put into it. It is a long-term investment in not only your health and well-being, but your long-term investment in terms of food. What if something happened? What if something happened with our supply chain? What if something happened and you just couldn't get certain things? There was this one point where no one could find eggs. And my husband just looks at me and goes, good thing we have chickens. Like, yeah, we have chickens, and we had chickens at that time. I don't have them anymore because of one of these incidences that I actually wrote about. I wrote about some things that really put me off of gardening, but I had somebody break into my house and they attacked my plants and they hurt my birds, and it was horrendous. If you want to hear that story, it's kind of a sad story, but you can let me know in the comments if you would actually watch a video like that, because it was terrible. But it is a good cautionary tale on what can happen if you decide to garden. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you have a garden, you probably need a camera. You just need one. You need one for wildlife, bugs, pests. You could potentially even see if there's animals creeping into your beds late at night. There's just things that you want to keep an eye on. But what I did not expect was needing cameras pointed towards my garden beds to make sure that no one's attacking my garden beds. It's crazy. They're not even at a part of my property that people can get into, but somebody was bold enough to go in my backyard and mess with my stuff. So, when things like that happen, you rely on your why. When somebody broke into my yard, they were actually attacking a community garden that I was making, and half of the seedlings that were broken were supposed to be going to a public growing program to help support children in healthy eating. And this program was where, I would grow produce from seed. I would teach kids to grow produce from seed. I would send them home with seeds, and then I also would have them harvest and cook the veggies. It was an amazing program. It was super, super fun. But, when somebody came in and stamped on half my stuff, I didn't look around and throw my hands up. I was like, well, you know what? The show's going to go on, whether people like what I'm doing or people don't like what I'm doing. And odds are, if you stand for anything at all, which by the way, some people don't agree with my takes on food activism, and I totally understand why, but I just genuinely do not believe that well good quality food does not need to be expensive. And I do not believe that it is only a privilege of the wealthy or the well off to be able to eat healthy. I just think that's wrong. So, that being said, got to find your why. So, find your community. This is going to help you when you feel like giving up, when you feel like nothing is going well in your garden, when you feel like you are so discouraged and tired. Find a community, find a Facebook page to join, hit follow on this page, find other people to follow and join that are going to champion you in your goals and can help you with some of their wisdom and expertise, because there are so many seasoned gardeners that can pour in their counsel and their wisdom, and they've been through a lot. And so anyways, these some of these Facebook groups, some of these older, community gardens, find a community garden to join. And the people in your area, they're going to really understand the type of pests you're dealing with. And also, I want to mention, not enough people reach out to their community agricultural extension. I almost never utilize mine, even though I've met the people from it multiple times, know multiple people over there. I don't know why, but I never text my guy over there and ask him anything. And I'm making it a habit this year that when I see something truly bizarre, instead of Googling it and trying to figure out exactly what it was, because sometimes that's wrong, I'm really just going to send it over to my guy over there and just ask, like, what is going on with this? So, anyways, find a community to keep you grounded, find other like minded people. I did not have anybody to garden with when I moved here, and I wanted to garden with other people. So, you know what I did? I just found people that didn't already have gardens, and I said, hey, I'm making a garden at your house. And so now I have one, two, three, four, five gardens in town that I help people grow out of, and I love doing it. I love growing food. But find your community, make your community. If you're irritated with grocery prices, likely other people are irritated too. And so just get together, do something about it, do something good for your community. If you have extra produce, make sure you share with somebody. Share with somebody that can't afford it. All right, y'all, I'm going to keep making this. I'm going to update you on what else goes in here. Okay, we're going to do some sunflowers to feed the birds, to keep them away from her other stuff. Cinderella Peach from Florette. I love her flowers. Just, it's too much. It's too much. Okay. And we're going to do some red and gold metamorphs. It's not just red and golds that are in here. I put also some of my own flower mix. And so she's going to love it. But we've got a pretty hefty stack of seeds here, and this will get her started. I'm going to add it to whatever I have at her house already, and I'm sure she'll be surprised. All right, guys, this has been Allison. I hope you've enjoyed this, and have a great day.